Hey folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier. I'm going to discuss a movie that I saw earlier. Well, it was actually yesterday at this point. This was Thursday evening. I had a really nice seat for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, is the subtitle. And God, so how many Ghostbusters movies have there been now? I think there was the original two. The original one was 84, 85, and then I think 89 was the sequel with Bobby Brown. I don't think there was another Ghostbusters movie of this Ghostbusters world until 2016 with a female cast. I still haven't seen that one. That one kind of was controversial. And then a couple of years ago, people got all excited November of 2021, I believe, because they had this kind of new storyline with this new family, and the old guys got trotted out towards the end. I remember seeing that one. I thought it was good, the one a few years ago. This one, I don't know. I kind of feel like I have big box office movie weariness, I think is the word. I mean, Dune 2, kind of feel the same way about that one. These movies that put together all the elements, the big cast, the big stars, the big special effects, the big budget, the big release, playing on the big screen. I mean, I like going to the movies. This one I saw in the best screen around that I enjoy here where I live. Dolby Digital, huge screen, wonderful, comfortable seat. I had my pick of the seat that I wanted. I got my ticket, about 36 hours in advance because I wanted this specific seat. And but I got to tell you, I don't really feel like I enjoyed this movie terribly much. And if I had to put a couple of words on why I did not enjoy this movie, Paul Rudd. I think that's the guy's name, right? Is it Paul Rudd or is it Phil Rudd? The actor. He's been in a ton of stuff. I mean, he's a funny guy, but I feel like Paul Rudd is his actual name. He's been around forever. I think his first big movie was Clueless, 30 years ago. Um, and he did a lot of those movies with the Seth Rogen guys, and he might have been on that TV show Freaks and Geeks. I can't remember, but he's been in everything. This is 40. I feel like it's just such a, and I know that he was in the prior movie a few years ago as this kind of science teacher turned stepdad, and it just feels like he's kind of shoehorned into this thing. It's a storyline, the family storyline of the stepfather and trying to bond with these kids. There's a 30-second commercial going around these days. I think it's on one of my streaming apps. Maybe it's Max or Amazon, but I always see this 30-second commercial where this like 8 or 9 year old girl is being introduced to the guy that's basically going to be her stepfather. And she keeps calling him by his first name, like it's John or Dave or John. And then when we see the little girl get older and she becomes a fully mature woman, and then on her wedding day, she's in her wedding dress and she's about to say, thanks, John, to the stepfather. And then she says, thanks, Dad. And it actually is a really effective commercial because it kind of shows this step-parent relationship growing in 30 seconds. And this fucking Ghostbusters movie tries to shoehorn that storyline into this over two movies. And I'm just not buying it. I just don't care. The other thing with that character, and I guess she's the central character, Phoebe. I mean, I don't know if other people are talking about this, but was this some type of attempt at a lesbian relationship between Phoebe, the daughter, and the fucking ghost? That's how it felt to me. I mean, it seemed like they weren't just friends. There was flirtation, which is fine. I mean, hey, why not? But it just seemed to me like if you're going to go there, then fucking push the envelope. I mean, I conked out a few times in this movie. So maybe, but did they kiss? I don't think they did. I mean, if Phoebe is going to explore her sexual identity, and if she's a ghost lover, let her be a ghost lover. Let her be a lesbian ghost lover. We don't need to pull the reins back on this thing. It felt like they were trying to tread somewhere, but then they pulled back. And then is it a commentary that the ghost doesn't really care that much about her? She's just using her. She's exploiting the young woman Phoebe's feelings. in order to bring in this evil spirit. I don't know. It just seemed like they're going to some places. They're trying to cover all these fucking bases. Here's the social commentary. Here's the fucking, flag of acceptance for ghost lovers, young lady ghost lovers. I don't. I mean, if you're going to do it, do it. But just go there. Don't tease around it. You know what I mean? Don't titillate unless you're going to explore the issue. I mean, if you're going to explore the young kid being a lesbian, then do it. But I mean, I don't think that she has to go into ghost loving, or maybe she does. But if you're going to go into ghost loving, then kiss the ghost, for Christ's sakes. So I just felt like when you try to walk the fence with controversial topics or what could possibly be a controversial topic, don't walk the fence. Either go in or don't go. That's my feeling on it. Because as a filmmaker, as a human being, I see what they're doing. They're trying to make everybody happy, but when you try to make everybody happy with these things, you make nobody happy. You know what I mean? Take a stand or sit down. Once again, I just didn't feel like this movie did much for me. Was it well made? Yes. It just feels like they're just trotting out the same old shit. The villain in this thing was actually kind of my favorite thing. Whatever the monster was, the fucking monster from the artifact, he was kind of cool, but he reminded me of it was a while ago at this point, 6 or 7 years ago. There was like an X-Men movie and an Avengers movie out around the same time. And they both had like kind of the same type of creature villain, like the Theranos or some crap. And I remember seeing both of those movies within a week of each other and pointing out, like, look, this looks like the same villain in both of these superhero movies. And they were both superhero movies that were like, the Justice League or the X-Men or all these assholes put together, because none of them are interesting enough to carry their own movie, apparently. What else? Like I said, Paul Rudd has just run his fucking course. I found it interesting that they put Bill Murray in this thing. In case you've been sleeping under a rock, Bill Murray is kind of a marginal Me Too type of guy. Like he Lucy Liu 20 years ago with the Charlie's Angels movies had issues, or Bill had issues, and Lucy was standing up to Bill Murray. There's another interview that I watched on YouTube, as a matter of fact, a few years ago, where Richard Dreyfuss, of all people, was talking about his experience working with Bill Murray on What About Bob? And he said that Bill Murray was like a real angry drunk, and Bill Murray threw an ashtray at Richard Dreyfuss's head. And Richard Dreyfuss ducked the ashtray, and they finished the movie together. But Richard Dreyfuss and Bill Murray haven't spoken since. And that was, 35 years ago? And basically, I've been hearing these little rumblings about Bill Murray. There was another project, I think, recently that had to be put on pause because of Bill Murray. But in any event, they trot him out here. I guess the filmmakers are kind of in a tough spot. If they want to keep this lineage of the original Ghostbusters, Harold Ramis, who was a big part of the original, he's no longer with us. So they got to squeeze these guys, these older guys that are still around. Annie Potts, she's fine, but she doesn't move the meter one way or the other. I would have liked to see them dust off the bones of Rick Moranis. I think he's still alive. I just don't think he does movies anymore. But he was a big part of the first one. Sigourney Weaver, I think she's still ticking. It'd be nice to see her in these things. Maybe she's not wanting to be involved. But if you're gonna have the fucking Annie Potts, then where's Rick Moranis? Where's Sigourney Weaver? Dan Aykroyd is a good actor. I like Dan Aykroyd. In this, it seems like he's just a real pro who just comes in, gets his paycheck, does his thing, and leaves. Murray looked like he was shoehorned in for maybe 2 days of filming. Like they just, unless I missed something, it just seemed like Bill Murray just kind of pops up, like about 80% of the way through the movie, they throw him in. Ernie Hudson looks good. Ernie's still looking like Ernie. I think Ernie Hudson's always been kind of an interesting Ghostbuster, because in the first one, he was kind of like brought in towards the very end of that movie. Like, oh, we need a fourth Ghostbuster for whatever reason, and they brought in Ernie. But here he is, and he's doing fine. He's always been a solid guy, a solid actor. Some of these other folks, the Fire Master. See, I'm remembering back to the very original one. I thought it was like Annie Potts and Rick Moranis had some type of, I'm the key master and I'm the lock master and all this horse shit. But was that something to do with this guy? I don't want to say his name wrong, but I'm going to try. Kumal Nanjiani. I have seen him in a bunch of stuff. I think the best thing I've seen him in was the Chippendales basic series, which somebody advised me to watch, and I did. I think it was on Hulu. Really strong performance in there. I think this guy, and I guess he was in the Big Sick. That was like a movie that I saw at the time, which I really enjoyed that movie at the time too. I think this guy though is much better as a dramatic actor. I mean, I know that he's done comedy like The Big Sick, but I don't find him to be terribly funny. And I find when he's funny, it's like a dramatic funny. It's not being the fire master. He's not a slapstick guy. And he also kind of has a weird kind of physical vibe because it's obvious he's doing some type of human growth hormone or some such thing. He's much bigger than he looks like his frame. And he's just kind of an odd shaped dude because it looks like he's got the Barry Bonds effect, like, or the Mark McGuire effect. He's on some juice. So he's kind of a interesting guy. Who else was in this thing? I don't know. The other kid, I mean, the whole Spengler family, are we supposed to care about this family? I mean, are we supposed to care about the mom and the fucking kids and Paul Rudd? I don't care. I mean, it doesn't interest me that you've got this family with this stepfather who's trying to get acceptance from the teenage kids. And I used to be your stepfather, but now I'm your dad. Well, who cares? Who gives a shit? Like I said, that 30-second commercial encapsulates that whole thing better than these movies. But yeah, Paul Rudd, I'm sick of him. He bores me. He's just the affable everyman fuck that we've seen and we're sick of. At least I'm sick of him. So I don't know what to tell you. I did zonk out. One thing that kind of pissed me off is that typically around here, the movies, there's like 20 minutes of fucking previews and commercials and Nicole Kidman and all this horse shit before the movie starts. Well, blessed be to me, I got into the theater 23 minutes late, which is really not my style. I like being there. I like coming in like halfway through the previews. That's kind of my like sweet spot, like coming in during the previews. No one has stolen my seat. But tonight I did get there and the movie was already started. I don't think that I missed something so vital and important because they were already kind of doing the bullshit, like the warm up, which I did like about this movie. They did what I call the moment before. Not just I call it, but people call it that. Like the moment before everything goes nuts. That was kind of dragging on. And I thought it was, a good moment before and so on and so forth. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can complain about this movie. I did like the monster at the end, but he did feel very similar to other monsters that I've seen. Like I said, the Theranos guy. How come all these monsters have like really ripped upper bodies? Like they're all these weird beings from another universe, yet they have big biceps and like a nice V shape at the top. I mean, why do they have arms? If they're really from some other universe, why do they have arms and fingers and eyes? Why don't they just look like some weird, like a head of broccoli or something? You know what I mean? It's whenever you have extraterrestrials in a movie, they still kind of look like people, don't they? Like they always have arms and legs and a face. But why can't they just be like a sheet of paper is the alien? You know what I mean? Like, why do they have these humanistic characteristics if they're really from some other place in the galaxy? What else can I say? I feel like the best part of the movie is the end, which is kind of weird, but I feel like with all the Ghostbusters movies, the best part of these fucking movies is surviving the shitty movie and hearing the awesome song. The Ray Parker Jr. song, which, by all accounts was kind of taken from or inspired by Huey Lewis, the News, I Need a New Drug. But if you listen to the song Ghostbusters, it puts a big goddamn smile on your face, and they're smart because they play the song at the end of the movie. So you kind of leave the theater, tapping your fucking toe, listening to that song, and then you want to see another one of these stupid movies because you hope that it gets better, but it doesn't. So I don't know, but that's my feeling. I'm going to do another review because guess what? I had a doubleheader, folks. I saw this movie. And then because of the time things going on in my life, I went to see Immaculate, a second movie. So guess what? Stand by, because in about a minute, I'm going to have another review. I hope that my audio is fine. I hope you can hear me and I'm not just screaming like an asshole for no reason. But I'm going to hang up now. However you're watching me, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, One Mike Messier, stand by, because you'll soon be seeing that I'm going to do another review of Immaculate. But this one, I don't know. I give it 2.5 just to be kind. I'm kind, but I'm not nice. MikeMessier.com. Go to my website, buy my books, do everything I say. Thanks.